Welcome back to Show Me St. Louis. Before the break, we asked you how many people have held the office of mayor in St. Louis. The answer is 47. 47 people have held the office of mayor of St. Louis. Now, in the United States, about 1 in 23 men and 1 in 25 women will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer in their lifetime. And this diagnosis was also including young people, too. So joining us live with more insight on these numbers, we have Dr. Jean Wang, with Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Wang, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me here.
And we were just talking a little bit before, during the break, that this is really kind of coming back up to the surface because there's a lot of different celebrities and names out there that you hear are getting colorectal cancer.
Yeah, James Vanderbeek of Dawson's Creek is the latest celebrity to open up about his diagnosis. And he was only 46 when he was diagnosed with colorectal cancer. Wow. And what we're seeing in the last few years is younger and younger people getting this diagnosis of colorectal cancer. A few years ago, Chadwick Boseman, as you might remember from Black Panther fame, he was diagnosed and unfortunately passed away in his 40s from colorectal cancer. So, you know, I think hearing about these celebrities reminds us that it can happen to anyone. You know, people who seemingly seem to be very healthy, young, you know, otherwise in good, healthy conditions.
Right, and this is something that Siteman, of course, is taking notice of. So you actually have the Young Onset Colorectal Cancer Program. So what is that?
Yeah, so this program, the Young Onset Colorectal Cancer Program, is specially designed for people who are under the age of 50 who have a new diagnosis of colorectal cancer. Because what we've found over the years is that these patients who are younger have different needs compared to the older patients that we normally see. So a big one, for example, is fertility. A lot of these patients in their 30s or 40s may be concerned about starting a family, and if they have to undergo treatment with surgery or chemotherapy, you know, we work with them on how to preserve their fertility, you know, for example, preserving eggs and things like that. Also, another common topic is that these patients often have young children that they're taking care of, as well as older parents that they may be also responsible for. So these are often people in the sandwich generation trying to navigate taking care of not only themselves, but their dependents and their parents. And so we have psychologists and support groups and social workers that can help them navigate through that process as well.
Well, a beautiful program, and perhaps just fulfill a need that people might not even be thinking of. Now, if you are a young person, is there anything that you could be looking out for?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, it's very important as soon as you turn the age of 45 to get colorectal cancer screening. Okay. And so even if you're not having symptoms, it's important to get screened. Okay. But the symptoms that commonly show up in patients who have colorectal cancer can include rectal bleeding or blood in the stool, or anemia, low blood count, abdominal pain, changes in bowel movements, or unexplained weight loss when you weren't trying to lose weight. So if you have any of these symptoms, it's important to, at any age, to go to your doctor and request a colonoscopy to get checked out to make sure that you don't have colorectal cancer as a cause. Right. You know, what we find as doctors is oftentimes younger patients, if they see blood in the stool, they tend to dismiss it as, oh, it's only hemorrhoids, I don't have to worry about it. But it's important to get that colonoscopy at least once to make sure it's not something more serious.
Yes. Well, and I'm glad that you said that too, because we were mentioning that with the celebrities, it raises more awareness, it puts it on people's minds, and I imagine that catching it quickly is better than when it's maybe perhaps too late.
Yes, definitely. So getting screened at age 45 will increase your risk of, or increase the chance that you'll catch cancer early while it's still curable. If cancer is detected in the early stages while it's still just in the colon or rectum, then there's over a 90% chance of a cure. Whereas if you catch it later stages, once it's spread to other parts of the body, then it's harder to cure that way. So it's very important to get screened. We find that people who get screened, even without symptoms, if we happen to find a colorectal cancer, it's usually early stage.
All right, well, thank you so much, Dr. Wang, for joining us today. We're going to have all that information for Siteman right there on your screen, and we'll be right back.